Mr. Wilson.
Mr. Warnes, episode number 5, my friend. What say you?
I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we stuck with it. Yeah, it's been fun. I'm excited.
I am too. And, I got to tell you, we have officially entered that dangerous phase of our trip planning.
Are you talking about the flights? Are you
No, my
talking about
friend.
the condo,
Nope.
car
Not,
rental?
not at all. It is far, far worse than that, Joe. Far, far worse.
I'm not sure what might be worse than the airfare.
It is going to be what we're packing and if our bodies are capable of living up to 30 days in the desert.
You're getting to the old man part of the segment.
I do represent that half of the dynamic duo here. Yes, most definitely. But in all honesty, Joe, the packing is a key point, and we're going to separate ourselves from what it is that we think we're going to want to those things that are must-haves that we have to have.
And that's just it, right? There are definitely some wants and some needs to this. There are some things that there's some haves to this that we have to have.
Oh,
there's things we
absolutely.
need for sure. And there's definitely some things that we want that might not necessarily, we could live without.
I agree, but I think what we want to do is let's start with something that sounds very simple, but in honesty, it's not.
Okay.
And that's our housing.
Yeah.
Booking housing is, some people can say, it's easy to do. For the week-long golf trip, it is. However, there are some things that you and I needed to keep in
We're not going for a
mind.
week.
No, we're going to be living there. And there's some things that both you and I need in order to be able to function, live, have a good time, just live normal life. And those are things that not necessarily every place is going to have. And as you and I started looking into this and some of the options that were there, not every housing option is the same. There were some that we found that, shockingly enough, even in 2026, did not have Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi is a necessity, really, truly is.
Well,
So,
first and foremost, let's be real. I mean, we're leaving for a month.
yeah.
And we don't want it's a vacation, right? We want to enjoy it.
Yes.
We expect there to be certain amenities.
Yeah.
But you're still working.
Yes.
You're going to be, it's not like this is it's a vacation for you, but you're working over this trip. You're going to have business things that come up. You're going to be taking
Yeah.
phone calls, things like that. So that's going to happen. So we had to have certain things. It's summertime for me. I probably won't think about teaching, hopefully, for the first week or two. But we'll see how that goes too. But I mean, I'm going to have my stuff out there to get some things done myself while we're out there. So it's not like there's certain things that we needed. And obviously Wi-Fi is one of those. And like you said, yeah, you would think that in most cases that was there and would be available, but sometimes it's not.
No, sometimes it's not. And again, one of the other things that was a necessity, at least for me, and I know it was for you because we both had spoken about it, and it was a place that was comfortable, a place that we could
Yeah.
at least, not just crash, but a place that we're actually going to be living in. So it's not like, going to say the Marriott and sitting in the couch that is stiff, uncomfortable, not meant to be really sat in a whole lot, and a bed that, is kind of nice, but at the same point in time, it's a hotel, you're there to crash, type of thing. But for us, it was something that we wanted to live in, and we needed to make sure that it had high reviews. Regardless of if it was Airbnb, VRBO, however you decided to utilize it. Again, we're not going to be here to walk you through the steps of how we, did that, but
There's platforms out there. People use them regularly. Yeah.
exactly. Just, our thing is that it needed to have high reviews. And if it stated something along the lines of, horrible reviews with regards to the beds, I don't know that we necessarily would have chosen the place that we chose. So, there's
Yeah.
that. And Joe, I know you wanted to have a nice kitchen because I know that you are
Yeah.
going to be the designated chef for the month.
Absolutely. I love cooking. My students know I love cooking. I talk about it in class all the time. They get tired of hearing about it. I mean, that's just my thing. It's what I do. When you love cooking, I also love eating, and we
Oh,
like
yeah.
eating a lot. So one of the ways that we're going to save some money on this trip is by eating in, obviously, when we
Yes.
can. I still want to go out and experience a lot of things while we're out
Mhm.
there, but let's be real again, we're going to be out there for a month. We're not going out and eating 30 days out. It's just not
No.
realistic.
No, not
So,
at all.
and let's talk about wardrobe. I mean, I'm also not packing for 30 days of different clothing either.
No. No.
Especially when, you pack there. How many times have you gone on a trip with a guy for a week or two and he packs 3 pieces of luggage and he
Mhm.
has all this extra junk with him? He wears the same 3 damn things the
That's me.
entire trip. Yeah, I'm
That's
talking
me.
about you, Robert. Talking
That
to
is
you.
me. I have done that. Obviously, I've done that. But no, the reality is that we needed to have a place that had a washer and dryer as well. That's a necessity for us. We
What do you
certainly
plan
didn't
on
want.
packing as far as I know we're gonna get into this later, but, like, as far as really clothing and pieces of luggage, what are you planning on taking?
Well, first of all, we're going to be taking an air carrier, a domestic air carrier. So we're going to be allotted only X number amount of pieces of luggage, and one of those pieces of luggage already has been filled with a set of golf clubs. Keep that in mind. So you're now dealing
Well,
with
and there are options for that.
there are,
People know
yes.
there are options of doing some different things to get the sticks out there.
Yep, absolutely.
We're just planning on taking them on the flight. That's what we're going
And
with.
that's how we choose to do it. The other options that are out there, I've heard good stories and I've heard a
Mhm.
couple of bad stories as well. So I'm willing to take my chances with the domestic airline carriers at this point. So it is what it is. And so we're going to be stuck with, at least myself, Joe, is going to be one check bag. And then I'm going to have one carry on, and then I'm going to have a personal item, which my personal item is going to be a backpack. My carry-on is gonna be a regular carry-on size piece of luggage that you can put up on the top, and then, of course, the check bag is gonna be, the largest size check bag that I can take. But with that, keep in mind that you and I, now that we're doing this podcast, and we do intend to continue doing the so sorry, my cell phone had decided to go off,
Speaking of
so
work in the
speaking
middle
of
of
work, it
employ
does happen. It does happen, so I apologize for that. But, as for us, now that we decided to do this podcast, we have a few other extra pieces of things that we're gonna have to lug around with us simply because I know that we're not gonna stop the podcast while we're out there. We're gonna get some good content and put it out there. And so anyway, that's gonna take up some space. That stuff is going to take space up. Obviously, the clubs are going to take space. We're going to need, for myself, sleep with a CPAP machine, so I have one of those. I sound like Darth Vader.
he does.
Hopefully,
I've witnessed
yeah.
this.
I sound like Darth Vader at night, and so I have to carry that along with me as well. But again, that is a medical device, and you're allowed to carry that as a separate item on the airlines as well. So myself, I choose not to have to carry so many things, so I kind of stuff, in other bags. So I'm going to lose some space because of that. Then, of course, we got the golf-related items. We have, all of that. We're jumping ahead, Joe. We're
We're
jumping
jumping ahead.
ahead with
All I
all of that
ask you
stuff.
is how many pieces of luggage are you planning on taking? 4.
Golf clubs, check bag, carry on, and a personal item.
I'm taking my clubs, a book bag, my carry-on,
Mhm.
and I'm probably gonna have to check a bag too.
Oh, you're gonna have to. You're gonna have
I'm
to.
gonna have
You're
yeah.
gonna have to because there's no way you and I are gonna get along with having just, 1 week's worth of clothing options available. It's just not gonna work, I don't
No, no,
think.
no, no, no. No, I'm thinking 2 weeks
So
to close. Anyway, we're getting ahead.
yeah,
So back to the housing. The point of this was we needed a laundry, right? We're gonna take
yeah,
probably 2 weeks of clothing.
yeah,
And of course we're gonna get stuff while we're out there. I'm sure you and I are gonna come across, some polos or something or whatever while we're out there. We're gonna have, we're gonna get other
yeah,
stuff. But we're going to end up washing some clothes, right? There's going to
yeah,
be lounge around clothes. There's going to be course clothes. You
that's
guys have
correct.
been on vacation. You know how this works out, right? We're going to end up with way more clothing than we thought we were and using way more clothing than we thought we were going to. So we needed a laundry, period. I mean, that was a necessity that we had to have along with the Wi-Fi. Those were the 2 big things.
The other thing that we wanted to have while we're heading out to La Quinta, the PGA West, is if we're going to be staying inside, which we are staying inside the community of PGA West, And one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we had, and that was a view of the Santa Rosa Mountains. So we definitely have a view of that. And because simply it makes my morning cup of coffee a whole lot better when I have something nice to view and not just the golf course itself. But I digress. But
Well, actually,
keep it.
I have some pictures up. I'm going to pull some pictures up here just on my side of things, just looking at it. Like we are literally looking out onto the golf course.
Mhm.
We're seeing some bunkers in the green and then the mountain range behind it. And like I said, for me, when we've talked about the strip at the beginning, was the picture of you on the driving range on
Mhm.
the private course with the mountain range behind you. And that's why that was it. Like that's where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to play. So that's why we're here. And that was part of what we wanted and part of the experience.
Oh,
So let's talk a little bit about some of the amenities though that we do have with the condo
mhm.
because staying where we're staying and the place that we're staying, you gave the number out last time of,
Yep,
a foursome of guys is spending, less than $1,000 for this place for the month.
that's
So,
correct.
it's 3 bedrooms. There's a master bedroom that has a king bed. There's a second bedroom that has a king bed. There's a third room that has a double sleeper sofa. So it says it sleeps 6. We got some other spots, I'm sure, with some, some couches and things. You can easily take a foursome, to a
Yeah,
place like this. So
absolutely. No, absolutely, and it's gonna be wonderful. I know, some of the guys some of our mutual friends who already have shown interest and said, "Hey, look, we're gonna make time to come out."
we're gonna have visitors. We're gonna have visitors.
We're gonna have visitors, they're gonna have a place to crash, so it's kinda nice. And of course, staying right there inside the community of PGA West, Joe, is gonna be so convenient for us because of the number of golf courses that are gonna be within the confines of the PGA West community that we have access to. And it's not just that we're gonna be able to drive our car from clubhouse to clubhouse. We're very fortunate and lucky enough that the owners of the condo have agreed to allow us to utilize their private golf cart while we're staying on property, and
And that's huge.
that's huge. That is going to be a life-changing type of thing for us while we're
It could
playing
change
the
I mean,
courses there.
it could save us some card fees, it could save us some different things while we're out there, obviously, which is great if we're playing on site. Just the ability to drive around the property and get around the property with the golf cart, I'm assuming, is you've been out there before, obviously, so you know a little
Mhm.
bit more than mine. But, yeah, I mean, that golf cart is gonna be a huge lifesaver for us. It's perfect.
Absolutely, absolutely, and then, there are other condos and there are other housing options that are in
Mhm.
PGA West that have, private, swimming pools and jacuzzis and stuff like that, and you and I have had that conversation, is this a necessity? And it was never a necessity for you and I, it was one of those afterthoughts of, there may be a day that we're not gonna be doing anything. We may wanna hang out at the pool. The nice thing is that the community does have a community pool upon which is literally just a couple of steps outside the front door, and, we'll be able to have pool day and be able to enjoy some of the lovely weather and not have to
We're gonna
worry.
need it at some point. I mean,
We are.
we're going in the middle of June, or the month of June. So we're gonna need the pool, obviously. It's gonna be for us to hop in and regulate the temperature a little bit. Because again, we're used to heat, but we're not used to that kind of temperature. It's gonna be different for sure.
Most definitely. But trying to think of anything else. We talked about drive times to all the different
Mhm.
golf courses that are in the area.
Yeah.
It's sort of kind of centrally
Mhm.
located in that part of the Coachella Valley. It's not like it's really close to Mission Hills or that it's really close to some of these other places, but it's not that far away. It's just a hop, skip, and a jump. It's not that far away, and it's going to be wonderful. We did not want to stay in the middle of chaos. You and I had spoke about, do we want to stay near the downtown area, Palm Springs? And, as much as nice as that would have been for, the convenience of restaurants and shopping and stuff like that, it would have been more chaotic for you and I than anything else because what we wanted was some peace. We're looking
Mhm.
for peace at this point, and there's no more peace than being on the middle of a golf course in
In the
June
middle of the desert
in
in
the middle of the
June
desert.
with the mountains behind you. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're kind of nuts and crazy about that, but no, I think that really topped it off For the house, as far as I know,
Yeah.
we were looking for something that was economical. It's very economical for both of us as well as for a foursome if you have it. We were looking for comfort. According to all of the reviews that we've seen, it hits the numbers there, and it seems to be a very popular place because of the number of reviews that are there. And
Absolutely.
I'm ecstatic. I'm excited to get there and to do all of the packing list. Oh my God, Joe, packing list.
Do you want to go there?
I think we're gonna have to go there at some point because the reality is that we wanted a place that we can just drop our stuff, call home. There's gonna be stuff that we're gonna automatically gonna need because of staying in a condo.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to pick up,
We're not packing everything.
we're gonna have to pick up some toiletries. We're gonna be having to pick up, the food, the drink, definitely Pedialyte. I'm a big fan of
Oh, yeah.
Pedialyte, and that's gonna be a necessity as well.
Electrolytes of choice.
Electrolytes, all of that is gonna be a necessity, and we're not gonna be taking all of that with us. We'll be picking that up while we're there, obviously, but I think in terms of packing, Joe, we're talking about the obvious. It's gonna be clothing options and, it's gonna be not just the golf, which we've already, you sort of
Well,
kinda
what's
spoke about.
the important question is, what is that first thing for you
Oh
that goes
gosh.
in the bag?
For me, and here you're kind of leaving it open because you're kind of saying, hey, is going to be because you didn't specify. Is this going to be clothing related? Is this going to be personal related? Is this going to be
Excluding
golf
your golf
related?
clubs, excluding your golf clubs.
Excluding the
For
golf
this
clubs.
trip to the desert, to La Quinta, what is the first thing that you're packing?
I'm gonna have to say a cooling towel. That's simply
Ooh.
because I don't want to forget a cooling towel. Now, I
Mhm.
know that I can buy a cooling towel out there because they are a dime a dozen because it's the
Mhm.
desert. Every pro shop has cooling towels. I know that. The fact is that I'm still gonna pack my own cooling towel. It's
I'm
just the
gonna take
way
a
it
couple.
is.
Yeah,
It's
I'm gonna
just the
take a
way it
couple with me. I
is.
wanna make sure we have them.
We have to have them. I know I'm also going to be taking along my personal, my little personal cooler bag that I have.
Yeah.
I'm going to take that along as well. I think
Mhm.
that's a necessity as well. The golf carts are all going to have coolers on them. They're all going to have ice in them, all of that good stuff. But we're still going to take ice along with us and frozen bottles of water because seriously think about it,
Yeah.
Joe. I can tell you I've been out there. I know what it's
No, it's
like,
true.
and I
Absolutely.
mean even in South Central Pennsylvania during the height of the summer season, if
You and I have
you
both played where we've been
we've
in
done
rough
it.
shape because we haven't eaten properly that day, or we haven't stayed hydrated, or we skip, hey, we're just gonna blow through the turn and have a candy bar and
Yes,
not stop and actually eat something. And yeah,
that's
we've been
correct.
there.
We've
Mhm.
all been there, and it's a necessity. We're going to have to take all of that along with us. So for me, it's the cooling bat towel. What about you? What's the first thing you're going to throw in there?
Sunglasses. I mean, I gotta look good while I'm out there, right?
I guess it's
I
the
gotta protect
obvious.
I gotta protect my eyes, you know?
I wasn't
A
even
good
thinking
set of
about that.
prescription sunglasses.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Oh my God. No, that's a necessity. It is a
I
necessity.
also don't want you to see me cry when I'm, hitting it into the water in Alcatraz
Hey,
or
look,
all that fun stuff.
it's all part of it. No, sunglasses is huge. We're going to need UV protection. It's going to be hats. It's going to be
Sun sleeves. I got a
sunscreen.
set 2 sets of sun sleeves, a couple cooling towels already that are ready to go, packed in the bag. So,
There you are. Wait. You already have a bag out that you're sort of kind of collecting stuff with.
no, that was
Oh,
sarcasm,
okay.
but I have them
Okay.
on the dresser to put in the bag.
Okay. Because I was like, hey, that's nuts. If you're that far ahead, that is absolutely nuts because we're taping this in what, the end of February. So we only
I feel
hey,
like I should be that far along.
actually, we should be thinking about starting to gathering some stuff up because it's not that far off if you really think about it,
I'm
Joe.
so
So
excited. I'm so excited.
my God, sun sleeves are going to be necessity. Look, the sunscreen, that stuff can be purchased while we're out there.
And
We're
that's
gonna
just UV stuff, right? Like we're just
yeah,
talking UV protection,
yeah,
sunscreen, sunglasses, sun sleeves. Like I said, I have 2 sets of them. People swear by them. I haven't used them
yeah.
yet, so I'm super excited to try that that out. And I'll be taking those along and the cooling towels. I mean, that literally we are just talking and hydration
Yeah.
materials, whatever you want to say. Those are just the essentials for just surviving out there. We're literally just talking about being able to survive and get around in the heat and everything while we're out there.
And and hey, let's not forget about the fact that we're gonna need to have you and I are both gonna end up having a headache at some point in time simply
Oh yeah.
because we're in the sun. So,
And
you
everyone
know,
forgets to pack this. Yeah.
it's gonna be, medications are gonna be huge.
Mhm.
So it's either, do you wanna pack it with you? Now, if
Mhm.
it's a med that you're, a prescription med, take that along
We're
with you,
taking that
Joe.
with us.
So
Yes.
but as far as the over the counter stuff, we can always get that while we're out there. But no, like I said, we're probably both gonna end up with a headache at some point in time during this trip, just simply because we're in the sun all day long.
Golf stuff. That's the other big thing, right? So apparel's easy. Like you said, we're gonna take about 2 weeks worth of clothing. That's
Mhm.
easy. I'm not too worried about any of that.
Shoes, golf shoes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. We're gonna need Oh my gosh, Robert. I didn't even think about that. I'm gonna need my golf shoes. I'm gonna need regular shoes. I'm gonna need my flippy floppies.
That's what I'm getting at. There is a lot of stuff, not a lot of space. Now you got to start thinking about becoming, what's the word I'm looking for? Creative. You need to become
Yes.
creative in how you
Mhm.
pack. So, that golf bag of yours is going to be stuffed with a bunch of stuff and be smart about it. That's all I'm going to say. Just be creative in your packing is what I'm getting at. But no, like you, it's gonna be golf shoes, it's gonna be other
Mhm.
shoes, regular shoes as well. Now, keep in
Couple gloves.
mind, we're gonna need gloves, obviously the apparel. Now we're gonna need street clothes as well because we haven't even talked about, going out and
Yeah.
exploring the area, so we're gonna be needing to have some street clothes as well. Golf shoes, God, if you're like me, I had a pair of black golf shoes and a pair of white golf shoes, so do I take both pair or am I gonna pick and choose? I think I'm just gonna pick and choose and go with white is what I'm gonna go with. Yep, that's smart thing to do. Yeah, way to go. Good boy. But no, it's and
Mhm.
then I don't know about you, and do you want to have a nicer dinner out like one time while we're out there?
At some point, we're gonna go sit down, and we're probably gonna wanna throw on a sport jacket or something like that, or
That's
say
that's
something
what
like
I
that, and
yeah, that's what
I
I'm
get what
getting
you mean
at.
to that there for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, I mean, if you wanna be my sugar daddy and take me out to a nice steakhouse or something, I will absolutely not say no to that. So, that's fine. I'm not above that.
I'm not gonna even get involved with that. So, anywho, no, but sport coat
At
is gonna
some
be one
point,
of
we're gonna
those
wanna
things.
dress up and go down and have a nice meal, absolutely.
We are, and Arnold Palmer's is right down the street. You have to go. I've never gone there yet myself, but for
It
you and
sounds like
I
we're
as
going.
as
It
being
sounds like we're
golf
going.
nuts, I think it's one of those places that you have to go and pay homage to the king. So, but anyway, we have that. Sunglasses, gosh, all the heating, all the cooling stuff. I think we got most of it covered.
You're forgetting
Medications.
one. No, you're forgetting one. You're forgetting the big one. And you should know this one because 'cause you're a traveling vet, so I'm
Oh
actually kind of
my
upset
God.
that you haven't mentioned it.
I gotta take the laptop. We have to bring the laptop because I have to
No,
do
you're
work
still
while I'm there.
forgetting it.
I'm clueless at this point. I'm
Your
really
blister
clueless.
protection, Robert. You know how
My
your little
God,
tootsies
yes.
are gonna be sweating and blistering.
You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm gonna have to do something with that. You are right.
Some Band-Aids, blisters,
Band-Aids.
first aid materials. If you don't take them with them, make sure you pick them up while you're there. You
Yep.
don't wanna be scrambling with some blisters or anything like that.
You are
You're out
absolutely
there.
right. You are absolutely right. And by the way, the blisters, we're not necessarily just talking about our feet.
No,
We're
no, the
talking
hands
about
as well, for sure.
the hands. Look, my hands are real soft since I stopped playing golf. So the calluses that once used to be there, which by the way,
You're gonna
used
build
to
them
go
back
right
up.
across there.
You're gonna build them
They're
back up.
gone. So I'm looking forward to that. My hands bleeding again as I'm out there just whacking away. Gosh, Joe, there's going to be things that we're going to forget to pack too. And, typically if I forget to pack something, it's going to be a toothbrush or toothpaste. It's going to be, soap and all of that good stuff. But again, at the end of the day, that's all stuff that can be picked up locally anyway. So
Yeah.
it's
And
not
that's
like you're
my
losing
thing is
out.
we're gonna be picking up, toiletries and things like that. We're picking
Oh
up while
yeah,
we're out there. I'm definitely gonna be saving space there. I'm packing clothes and I'm packing the golf stuff really is all I'm taking. I won't be taking too much else besides that as far as my end, so
no, I look, I'm going to be doing the same as well. You know, talking out loud with regards to a packing list, is we're just trying to,
it's things to
pepper
think about.
spray.
It's
Yeah.
certain things that people don't think about when, they're planning something like this. So things do come up and you want to make sure they're ready for them. You don't want to be stuck on the course or, in the middle of a nine trying
Hmm.
to flag somebody down to get a band-aid because you've got a blister popping up or something like that. It's uncomfortable and you don't want to be there.
That's
So it's
true.
just certain things that you want to think about while you're out there. I mean, you had on our list that you had talked about was nail clippers. You don't know if every
Oh
place
yeah,
has nail clippers out there. We're going to be there for a month.
that is true.
So just simple things like that. Chapstick. We're going to be in the middle of the desert. You're going to need some chapstick.
Socks, can't forget socks. We're going to need
Mhm.
socks, or at least I am anyway, because my feet sweat like you wouldn't believe.
You're gross, but continue.
My wife is quite upset about that. But anywho, with that being said, extra socks because you're going to need them because look, it's June. We're going to be playing golf in June. And if you're like me and your feet sweat and smell as bad as mine do, extra socks are going to be in a necessity. So
We've resorted to talking about stinky feet here.
don't forget about batteries for your rangefinder. That's
Yes.
another big one. I just opened up my bag and I took a look at my rangefinder for the first time in eons, and the battery is dead. Looking around in my bag for an extra one, thought I had it. It's not there. I'm living in the middle of Central America. It's not like I can find that size battery just at the store at
So
the corner
I
store.
should
So
order one and have it ready for you here for your trip
yeah,
back in March.
yeah,
Got it.
pretty much. Yeah, we're gonna need to do that. So gosh, I'm trying to think what else here. Extra gloves. If your hands sweat like mine do, and you and I both have a mutual friend who has been known to play in rain gloves, and by the way, wear
Yeah.
both the right and the left hand, and he will play in those
Mhm.
from the time that the season starts to the time that the season ends.
Yep.
And we both know who we're referring to, and he's a great guy and looking forward to seeing him again. But no, it's gloves.
Mhm.
Gloves are gonna be a necessity, and I will tell
Towels.
towels are gonna be a necessity as well. Gosh, chapstick. Don't
Mhm.
forget about chapstick because your lips are gonna blister out there at
Yeah.
some way. Gosh, Joe, I'm trying to think of what else there is.
Well,
Electrolytes.
there's one big elephant in the room. There's one big elephant. Before we get there, it's golf with Wilson and Warnes. That's us. These two guys that some of you, for some reason, are still listening to. We're going to La Quinta. We're going in June. We're going to PGA West. We're going to be playing some golf for a month. Talking a little bit about packing already. We're talking a little bit about the condo. We're getting excited, absolutely excited. But the big elephant in the room is how are you physically feeling?
Old.
We're not young anymore.
Old is my answer, Joseph.
Yes,
Old.
I feel it. Yeah.
I think I told you in a previous episode that I had put myself in the reading of a putt position and every bone in my body cracked. And that's no joke. I will tell you that it scared me enough that I am now actually working out. I do actually have a workout routine. It's nothing big because, staying in shape versus building muscle, two different things. By the way, golf shape is not necessarily, football shape, if you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So,
Not that you
it,
were ever in that either, but it's fine.
and again, we're talking about stretching. We're talking about being able to move, be flexible, be able to maintain your ability to walk for a round of golf, your ability to swing a club, let it be 72 times or let it be 112 times. You're gonna have well, from the time you start to the time you
We've been
finish,
on both ends of that.
we have been, and I will tell you, it is better to be physically in shape to be able to swing a golf club 112 times specifically if you're just going out in the desert, as we like to say. But physical condition, Joseph, it's look, I feel old, I'm not gonna lie. I'm not as young as I once was. I don't bend as well as I once did. I do bend better now than what I did a year ago because I
Okay.
am now starting to do some exercises. At some point I might get
Hmm.
some video of myself doing some of that stuff. So maybe, I don't know, maybe there's other old guys out there that, I don't know, need a little extra push in the right
Well,
directions.
hang on. Let's talk about that a little bit
Mhm,
because I've coached a little bit. I have a little bit of background in that, so I've done some different programs with my lacrosse players and some different things.
mhm.
But you yourself, when you were playing, you did go through the Titleist program that they had for a little while,
Yes,
as far as not doing it with someone, but you actually had them come in and work with you
yes.
for your conditioning. So you do understand a little bit about what needs to be done, and some different ways to get that performance or what you're looking for out of that. So we'll absolutely get some of that content set up there, just some of those different things you can do. Because
Mhm.
again, we are talking about golf shape and it comes down to flexibility and
Yeah.
mobility, right? And we know that. And that's what's going to generate speed. And we can get into all that. But that looks different for everybody.
And again, we're not talking about, well, maybe you are talking about it. For myself, I'm not. I'm just talking about getting into a physical condition to where I can play 18 holes of golf
Yeah,
in the desert is
absolutely.
really what it boils down to. But, the reality is that if you wanted to go that extra step and to build swing speed and all of that good stuff. Yeah, you can do that by doing the simple stuff in your stretches and in some weight lifting. And I'm not talking, mass weight lifting. We're talking repetitious type of
We're
stuff.
talking about doing something a little more than you're doing right now, is what it comes
Correct.
down to.
Hey, taking a walk, when was the
Yeah.
last time you took a walk for 18 holes, Joe? I don't know the last time you did it. For myself, it's been a couple of years, so
If you saw the size of my high school, I feel like I'm taking a walk every time. Well, you know the high school. Hey, you went
I
there.
do.
You
I do.
went there. Blah. So,
That is
yeah, I
true.
mean, when I walk around the building, I feel like I've walked about 18 holes. So, yeah, there's that.
But it's just simple stuff, doing that. It could be as simple as just, dedicating yourself some time to do some push-ups. It may be, dedicating some time to, pick up something weighty and just, start to, just get the
Yeah.
motions in and put it behind your head, do whatever you need to. And you know what I'm getting at? I mean, hey, look, you have seen me stretch
It's
out
the
on the
truth.
first tee
It
box. I
absolutely.
mean, you have to. And if you don't, you're gonna get hurt at some way,
Yeah.
shape, or form. I've been on that end of things too by not stretching myself properly or warming up and hopping out of the car on a cold,
And
frosty
rushing,
morning,
rushing for
rushing
the,
to the tee
the
box and just not doing a thing, and it just makes for a long, miserable day. But no, it's how do you feel, my friend? How do you feel where you're at?
I need the weather to change in a bad way.
Mhm.
I mean, you know where we're at. I got
Yeah.
it's starting to warm up a little bit. We've had some more of the white stuff falling. I think let me take a peek here. Yeah, I can see grass finally. The snow has melted, so there is finally some grass out there. But yeah, I'm in the same boat, right? I mean, I spend so much time teaching and, helping out other people and doing some different things with them that I forget to take the time to work on my own game. So that's something where I need to do a better job for myself, and something I'm looking at is, making sure that I am getting back into swinging the club each week, a couple times a week, getting out and using the well putt mat and working on the putting game, because for me that's one of my biggest things that I need to work on continuously in my
Mhm.
golf game, my putting stroke. So but as far as physically, I think the swing's there, but yeah, the body can always improve. I think conditioning is going to be the big thing for me. I've got the heavy bag in the garage. The little one has gotten in, finally learned how to jumping rope. So I think,
Wow.
yeah, she finally figured out how to jump a rope. It's because she's,
Wow.
8 feet tall. So, um, but we'll probably get out and start doing some heavy bag stuff when there. I need to start doing a little bit of cardio and just getting the conditioning back in, like you said, just so the heart and everything is in good shape for when we're out there in the heat. And it's just as simple as that.
It's gonna be about fatigue management is really what it's gonna be about for you and I, and it's not like we're playing golf on a weekly basis, although I'm trying to play golf on a weekly basis now, or at least swing my clubs on a weekly
Yeah.
basis. Again, it's not the easiest thing. Again, for those of you who may not know, I do live in the middle of Central America in an undisclosed location, although I may have let that slip once or twice.
We've
But anyway,
disclosed it many a time.
it's not the easiest way for me to be able to get to a golf course. It does take it's a little bit of a trek for me to get there, but we are making it work, and it's just about repetition. It's about getting back into the swing of things. I mean, literally and
Yeah.
figuratively. Look, the mistakes and fatigue can be brutal at times. You and I both have played in extreme. I don't want to say extreme heat, but the heat of it's the Mid Atlantic can be sometimes very swampy, specifically in the
Yeah.
DC areas. So, you and I both have had heat fatigue. Specifically, if we were to go into the mailbag, we could talk about something, but we'll let that
Yeah.
go for the time being. Once we do the mailbag,
Slight panic attack, it's
yeah,
fine, it's fine.
it is what it is, and hey, look, I suffered with that myself. In fact, I was taken off the golf course at my club in DC and had ended up in the hospital, and that was
Mixture
simply
of a lot of
a
things.
mixture of a lot of things, and one of those is the fact that it was one of the first rounds of golf that I played that season. And two, I decided to walk. It's a relatively, the topography of that course is kind of up and down the hills, if you know what I'm getting at. So I had some fatigue there. I was not hydrated at all for the walk. And, at the end of the round, it all just hit me. And the next thing I know is I'm on the floor and being sent to the hospital. So it's a real thing. And fatigue can set in. I don't wanna have that type of an episode, specifically that far away from home, and I certainly don't wanna be held responsible for you if you were to
Well,
go down that path either, my friend.
and the big thing for us for this trip has been the fact that we want to enjoy it, right?
Yeah,
The whole point of this trip is for us to go out, and we've said it before. We've done some different shorts on our social media about this. For us, it's about recharging. It's about
yeah,
going out and getting our heads back into the game of golf. That's physically, mentally, we're literally looking to go out and just kind of set ourselves back on that right path and get ourselves squared away moving forward. So, getting back in physical shape is going to be part of that still. So, and
yeah.
it's part of that journey. And I'm glad it's part of that journey. We both needed it, right? We need that kick in the butt to take better care of ourselves again.
We do, and, again, it's not like we need to take care of ourselves to the point that, we need to remind ourselves to, get up and get dressed in the morning, but it's more along the lines of, for you and I, we've spoken about it, and you and I are taking our mental health relatively seriously. I know I am simply because of everything that I've gone through. And you and I have spoken about it. Being physically active helps you mentally. And
Yep.
even if it's as simple as, myself, I'm fortunate enough in my garage, otherwise known as the gym, i.e., also the putting lab. For my wife, it is also the Pilates studio, but most days it's just known as the garage. So, but with that being said, I'm lucky enough to have some equipment, and using that equipment has it's helping. It helps you get rid of some of the stress. It helps you get your mind off of whatever you may be ruminating on. And again, I don't know, your thing, Joe, may be different than mine, but again, ADHD for myself. I do a lot of ruminating about crap that I shouldn't be ruminating about. But anyway,
Absolutely.
it just
We're
is
going to
what it
control.
is. And it does. It helps you get out of control. And for myself, when I get out there, I just stick in the earphones and pump some music and just start lifting some weights and moving my body and hearing a lot of cracking and creaking as it happens. Uh, I no longer scream like a little girl or a little boy. I have stopped the screaming, luckily.
That's good. It's
Everybody in the
progress.
everybody in the neighborhood is very happy that I have learned to start stretching in the morning anyway. But no, it's just one of those things. You got to do what you need to do in order to be able to take care of yourself mentally, and being physically active is one of those. And you and I both realize that. And quite frankly, I think you and I are going to hold each other accountable. And again, it may not be because of the fact that hey, look, I'm going to do 10 push-ups today, Joe. How many are you going to do? It may be as simple as you had mentioned about the well putt mat. I have a well mat myself. I'm using it, Joe, and I'm keeping scores of the different practice courses that they have. And what I'd like to do is maybe you and I should post on our website our well putt mat scores
For
on
sure.
the different courses that they have. And if anybody else happens to, who may be watching this, if you have a well putt mat, feel free, join along. It's a nice little way to, one, work on your putting stroke. Number two, get the feel of the golf ball rolling again. By the way, the well putt mats are they stimp anywhere between a 10 to an 11, 11 and a half. So it's not like it's that far off from your local club. It's going to be pretty accurate, in
They feel
terms
pretty
of
good.
things. It feels like a pretty good putt. It's a
This
good
is a
putt.
project we've used with our players before. It's a really good product. It's great for wintertime golf, like you said,
Yeah.
to be able to, when I can't get out on the course, I can hop into the swing lab out in the garage and hit putts for half an hour, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever kind of time I have. Like you said, just to get the feel of the putter in my hand and just to get the feel of the stroke and the ball rolling and start to get some of that muscle memory for some of those distances. Yeah, absolutely. I'm down. Let's do it. I need to do something. I need to make sure I'm getting it going. And putting is the one, one of the places that I can save the most strokes. So I'm down. Let's do it.
Absolutely. No, and for myself, not being in the putting position and the putting stroke for a long time, I'll tell you, my back after, the first 4 or 5 putts, it's like, God, geez, that hurts. It's like,
You got some muscles to get back.
maybe I need the heating pad tonight. I'm not sure if I need that or not, but no, it is. It's showing me that how either in shape or out of shape I am, and things that I need to work on for myself. But no, as far as getting rid of strokes, the number one place that you and I can get rid of the strokes the easiest and the quickest is literally on the putting green. It's one thing that
Mhm.
you and I have the capability of being able to practice during the off season. There's no excuse for us, and maybe we can put our scores up there so we can maybe compete against each other for putting
Oh, it's
practice,
going.
and
Yeah, for sure.
for anyone else who may have a well putt mat. And by the way, if you don't have a well putt mat, use whatever you have, and
Yeah.
just work on the putting stroke is really what it boils down to.
So this is Golf with Wilson and Warrens. If you guys didn't know or you haven't known, or I don't know where you're listening to us at, you can find us on all the social accounts at UNW Golf. The website's up and running finally. I got that figured out. I did some nerd stuff and got some things up. So we are you can also find us at www. So you can find us there, check it out, reach out to us, drop us a line, let us know you're listening, following along. And yeah, I mean, I'm down. We're gonna put this on the socials. We'll have that up there. We'll do like a weekly tally, something like that. And we'll get some scorecards posted and just kind of let everyone know what we're doing. I love it. Yeah. We'll get some content rolling. Yeah, I love it.
Perfect. No, I think in terms of the physical condition, Joe, it's we need to make sure that we're not going to be fatigued out there in the golf course. And when you're fatigued,
Are you bringing coffee?
oh yeah,
Okay, cool. I
oh
figured,
yeah,
but
oh
that's
yeah,
extremely important.
that's
That's
that is in the bag. Don't worry
we
about
also
that.
had to make sure there is a coffee pot
Yes, that's a necessity.
at the condo.
That is a necessity. Yes, that was one of the things we looked for, was making sure that there was a coffee pot. But no, keeping in mind with the fatigue, once you get fatigued, you're going to make some horrible decisions, and when I'm talking about horrible decisions, I'm talking about thinking that you're 295 out and that you're going to be able to clear the pond and still be able to get on, and the reality is that you're probably on hole number 16. You're probably beat. You're already sweaty. You're tired. You already went through 4 pairs of gloves, and you're swinging the golf club for the 100th time. There's no way you're going to swing that golf club, hit the 295 across the water. You're better off taking a 7-iron, chunk it up there, and keep on moving. That's really what it boils down to. So
Know your limits, right? Know your limits, know the conditions, but that comes back to competitive golf as well, right?
Yeah, it does.
Is the adrenaline flowing, and do I have that edge where I'm gonna be muscled up, or am I at the point where I've hit that fatigue and I might need that extra club to get that shot where I was before?
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's all about knowing the body and knowing what's going on 100%.
And
And
it
it's gonna
comes
make the game better for yourself.
absolutely. It just comes down to, again, the things that we need to work on are going to be stamina. Yeah, easy for me to say stamina, mobility, stability. And it's not just about adding strength. It's about building up all of these, things that, should be kind of, in sync for us, but they're not because we've
Yeah,
stepped away for as long as we have. So those are the things that we need to work on. And again, I don't know how you intend to do it. For me, it's gonna be I'm gonna be walking more. I have a lot of hills where I'm at. I'm in the mountains, so it's a lot of uphill. So I'm gonna be doing a lot of uphill. That's my cardio, by the way, that I'm working on. It's just not walking. It is my cardio as well. So, it's about core stability, working on your core. It's making sure that your back isn't, the muscles that shouldn't be working and firing are relaxed, and those that should be firing are firing when they should. You know what I'm getting at. So, but those are the things I'm going to be working on, Joe. It's going to be really just the basics is
yeah,
really what it's going to be.
and that's all it needs to be, right? That's all it needs to be.
It doesn't have to be anything, overwhelming. It's not like I'm lifting weights and trying to, outdo my youthful self back in high school as, no, that stuff's just not gonna work for me anymore. I'm too old for that. I'm way too old. I'm just happy that I can touch my toes, to be honest with you. I'm just happy about that.
My strategy is I'm just not going to get hurt. That's my plan. But in all seriousness, no, I mean, I'm in the same boat you are, right? Again, we're talking about being in golf shape. Okay.
Yeah,
We need to be able to walk. We need to be
yeah.
able to, move the body a little bit and get going. The big thing for us is going to be the extra added heat and the exhaustion and the fatigue due to that. So we're going to be doing a lot of cardio in the next few weeks. I'll be hitting the heavy bag and be doing that. I'll also be hitting the swing lab and hopefully kicking your putt in the well putt mat. But we both know that that's a lie because you are a way better putter than I am. So, Mr. Wilson,
Yes,
we're
sir.
at that time of the we're at that time of the night.
We're at that time of the evening. Wonderful. It feels like, Joe, we are on the 18th tee box, my friend. We only have one more fairway to go. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is our new segment. This is Joe's Fairway Thought. Joe, walk us down the fairway.
So last week we were talking about etiquette a little bit. And we still have that coming up. I'm still gonna get the friend of ours in and we're gonna do a little segment on that. But this week, I mean, it, golf trips, we spend all this time, right, on the upfront.
Mhm,
We spend time worrying about where we're staying. We're
mhm,
spending time worrying about what we're packing. We're losing our minds about at the last minute about do we have this? Have we hit the checklist? Is this missing? Is that missing?
mhm.
And we all know this. We know that we will remember none of that
It's true.
at all.
That's
We're
true.
not, because the things you're going to remember are the terrible shots that you're hitting, Robert, the laughs that we're having,
Oh, yeah.
right? Just those ridiculous moments that we know we're going to have, just the good times. That's what you're going to remember when it comes to the golf trip. That's the magic of it. That's why, we always laugh when we do our segment, send it or layup, that I'm always the send it guy, but I am most of the time
Yeah.
because just for that reason, I know that when it comes down to it, we're going to be able to prepare and have all the preparation we want. Things are going to come up, things are going to happen. We're
Mhm.
not going to remember any of that. We're going to
Okay.
focus on those good times and those good laughs. So, as you're doing all this, as you guys are planning your trips for the upcoming seasons, as you're planning your vacations with your families, as you're doing all these things, remember over preparation can also be a bad thing. Prepare, make sure you're safe, make sure you have everything ready, but leave some space in there to, have a good time and get lost along the way.
Things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to be made. We're going to forget something, and it's going to be from the mundane to the absolute necessity that you're going to need to
Yeah,
have.
absolutely. It's going to
It
happen.
happens. It's called life. And, look, the other week when I was down at the club, I lost my cell phone because I just left it in the transportation vehicle. And life happens. Things are things are going to go wrong from time to time. But sometimes we remember those things that do go wrong and we'll laugh about it specifically if there's more than just, yourself going along. But if there's more than a couple of us going, it's just like I remember one of our good friends that we had taken a golf trip with. I remember he'd gotten his golf bag out of the trunk of the car, and I guess he forgot his golf bag was unzipped, and 1,000 golf balls go bouncing all over the parking lot. And
Very first thing of the trip.
very
Yes.
first, and all he do is just, "Oh god," type of thing. And he just hang his head, and the first words out of my mouth were, "Look at that." Those are the first words out of my mouth, but you go over, you pick up the golf balls, but you just that was a bad thing that happened. So that one of the things I
You just move on.
highlights
You
you just
move on.
move on, type of thing. But no, they're gonna happen, Joe, and, I'm looking forward to this trip for multitude of reasons. One, it's you and I have been talking about this trip for a long time, and I'm glad that we're gonna be able to check this off of our bucket list. Two, you're a good friend. I'm glad that we're gonna be able to spend some time together, so that's always good. You and I always laugh. We always laugh together. We cry together. Make fun of each other. We laugh at each other. We encourage each other to do stupid stuff on the golf course. We encourage each other to
It
do
works out sometimes.
sane stuff on the golf course. We encourage each other. We just encourage each other, and quite frankly, that's part of the friendship. And I'm just looking forward to playing some golf with you. I'm looking forward to losing a lot of golf balls. I'm looking forward to getting lost in the desert. I'm looking forward to exploring some food spots. I know a couple of places out there. I told you about the Thursday night thing that they
Mhm.
have in downtown Palm Springs, that they have on Thursday evenings. It's kinda like a block party. It's a must do if you're out there, and, Lappard's ice cream, you gotta have go to Lappard's for ice cream, my friends. We'll get all of that done, but no, I agree with you. It's not about you and I, we're going to be talking about the packing list from now until the day we go. We're not going to remember about the packing list and all of the things that go along with it, but what we are going to remember are um, the trip out. You and I are going to be flying out there together. So it's we're going to be, we're going to remember all of that, and playing the stadium course and all the other courses that we're going to be playing. I'm sure we're going to be calling some of our mutual friends along the way, going, "Oh my God, you'll never guess where we're at right now."
Oh, we will be rubbing this in a lot of faces. I'm with you, buddy. I can't wait. We both need this. We've both been
Yeah,
through a lot. It's going to be a great time. I'm hoping this is going to jumpstart both of our passions again for the
yeah.
game and hopefully get us back into growing the game and reaching back out to some friends of ours and really just pushing the game of golf again and
Much needed,
enjoying
much
it.
needed,
Yeah.
much needed for both of us. But Joe, I think we are at the end of yet another episode. It has been fun, my friend. By the way, I couldn't help but notice you're wearing some merchandise there. You're wearing
Little
some
swag.
merchandise, a
We're
little
still
swag.
nobody. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We're still nobody. We just get so check us out. We are on all the socials. It is Wilson Golf with Wilson and Warrens at UNW Golf on the socials, unwgolf.com. You can find us, reach out, keep in touch with us. We'd love to hear from you guys out there, hear about what's going on with your golf lives, and what you're doing out there in the world. So, Mr. Wilson.
As always, Joe, I'd like to leave you with one thing. Keep it in the fairway, my friend. Until next time.